Dig Down Deep. Dig Down Deep is interesting to me, lyrically a little different than anything I've done. Therefore, it's got a good reason to talk about it. But the song originally came from ideas that I woke up with. Now, a lot of times my place of inspiration is when I'm going into or coming out of sleep. And for this song it was the same thing. The issue was I had some manual labor that I had to do the next day, which started fairly early. And here it is a couple hours for me to get up to do that. And I was so tired. And I really wanted to continue to sleep. So these words started coming and I was almost slipping up, but I almost didn't stick with it, which is an issue, I have to tell you, as you're an artist. You don't get second shots at a lot of stuff. As an artist, you learn to adapt, you learn to cater to and give ground to and cooperate with inspiration. I've said that a lot of times in a lot of episodes, but that's the centerpiece of my life as an artist, is that you learn to obey. You not obey, follow. Obey is another way of looking at it, but you learn to cooperate with it and value it, and so you give yourself to it. This song came in a few lyrics that words that were coming and I wasn't sure. Sometimes they're just poems that I write, and this one was dig down deep, and I was thinking dig down deep beneath the thoughts that you're thinking, and I went, whoa. And I was just thinking about these personal things I had been going through and I've gone through in the past that, you know, like we tend to not connect with what's in deeper parts of our heart. And in this song, that was kind of what it was about. It was I kind of took it as my own progress and thing. And I wrote it, I started writing. So I grabbed my phone, pulled out my Evernotes, so I do it, and I began writing the words that I was inspired to write. And sure enough, next hour and a half, I wrote this whole thing about Dig Down Deep that is really different. I don't know if I've heard any song quite like it. It's almost like a therapy session where you dig down to the things that are beneath the surface and you find those things and root them out and get to the heart of the matter, and then when you do those things, you find places where you find a joy and a release. It's like, as in my Christian faith, it's that, you know, Jesus promised that if you would continue in the truth, that means continue in it, put it into practice, that he said you'll know the truth and the truth will set you free. And I found that is absolutely true. It doesn't, whatever faith or view of it you have, all of today's psychology deals with those issues of us digging down, of getting to the root of things, of facing things that you haven't faced, and that's where freedom's at. Well, that's what this whole song is. I've never quite heard a song like it. So that's what I ended up with. Now, I took that song and I brought it to work with me, and I thought about it during the day, and I kind of revised it in my alert, awakened consciousness of it. I tried to fix it. And so I ended up with a version of it that was quite different. By the end of the day, I got together and I tried to reconcile them together into one, and I realized that almost everything that was capped was what came out of my dream state, what came out of the raw stuff. There was a few things for order and clarity that I changed, but that was basically the original was how this song ended up. So that's how the song Dig Down Deep became a song. Took it into my process of recording and developed beat and tempo and what kind of style and all those things that I wanted to do, and that's how we came up with the audio version of Dig Down Deep. Now the video is very interesting again to me. All this stuff fascinates me. The creative process is one of the most fascinating things that you can go through, and you that do it and live it know it. It's just amazing. It's like you're connected to something that is different, and it's outside yourself, and it's amazing, and you get to be part of it. That's how I look at it. Well, video creation, I always look at video creation now as it's a separate work of art. It's a separate creation, and I don't try to necessarily put images directly from the song. Sometimes that works, but most often it doesn't. So you find a way to create a new piece of art, which would be the video. and the video itself enhances the original song, but it also shines at it, maybe looks at it from another angle. So I looked into all kinds of ways of doing it, and I was coming up with nothing. And everything that I collected and wanted to do did not work. Then I started going back, like I've done in the past, through old vintage silent film stuff. Silent films that are public domain. You can use them. They're available to use if you want to, and if they're of value, you can use them. I've done a lot of that stuff, especially in the past. But this one, I was just going through, and I was drinking my coffee, and I was going through all of these old films, and I saw something that said The Grimm Game, and I went, what's that? And it mentioned Houdini's name, and I was going, whoa, that's what struck me about it. That's what made me stop, pull it up, watch it, and then eventually download it and use it. This Grimm Game footage is public domain, and as of up till 2013, there was no full film left of this movie. There was only these 4 minutes, this public domain 4 minutes of film. Since then, it has been bought up by Turner Broadcasting, bought it, and now they have released it as a full film. Doesn't change the fact that this footage, though, was public domain, and so I took it. It's a film starring Harry Houdini. There's a lot of controversy around the film itself, but it's also exciting that you got to film this footage of Harry Houdini. In the footage, what you see is Houdini comes running up to a biplane, and he's pointing up in the sky, and he's looking for his fiancée, who has been taken away by some dastardly character in another biplane. And so he jumps in this plane, they fly off after it. He does this daring stunt work of swinging down from a rope from one plane to another, and then as he joins them and joins the other and assaults that plane to get his fiancée back, there's this plane crash that crashes to the ground. Now, the controversy was this film was put out in 1919. So what they said was that this was an actual plane crash that they did not plan. That's how they released it to the public, and that no one was hurt. Everyone survived the plane crash. But then after the crash, they decided to rewrite it into the script, and there it is. The film footage ends up with this crash of this plane, and the smoke fills the air, and rising from the smoke is Harry Houdini with his fiancée in arms, and she looks at him, and they dream off, and that's the end of the film. Great footage. I love the footage. And later on, that same about that film, one of those involved with script writing for the movie, the actual movie, the original movie from 1919, later said it was always in the script that we wrote. So was it faked? Was it real? Was it ever? But that's how Houdini built his whole career. And so it's interesting. But when I took that film and I put it in with Dig Down Deep, something happened, and it was interesting. And so this 4-minute film footage, I chopped it into sequence into the song Dig Down Deep, and it came up with this video. I like the video. I actually like the video a lot. And we've had a lot of comments. It's already ran its cycle. We've already promoted it. But it has its it has its strengths, and that's how the song came about. A lot of interesting twists.
Down deep, beneath the things you're thinking, piece by piece. Replace those lines you're inking, still more time and space for rearranging. If you'll only face the music, dig down deep. Dig down deep, swap each order for disorder, lay aside all the darkness along the border, search the drawers from those younger files you keep. Find the truth from which you hide there, dig down deep. There's a joy that you've never known before, placed there deep, way beneath that prison floor. There's a song, it's still waiting to be sung, from the truth you'll find there once that digging started. There's a joy that you've never known before, placed there deep, way beneath that prison floor. There's a song, it's still waiting to be sung. From the truth you'll find there once that digging started. Dig down deep, there's a better place inside you where that song and the rhythm's there to find you. See that grace from the love there that you seek. You can find it if you'll only dig down deep. Dig down deep, deep, dig down beneath the things you're thinking, piece by piece. Deep, replace those lines you're inking, still more time. Deep, and space for rearranging if you'll only face them.